Vashthesampede here, man. I thought I'd just share a little story with you guys, and also, ask the question at the same time. Um, when I was 17, there was a woman. Her name was Kristen Baker, and my mother had a daycare. My mother had her own business. She had a daycare, and Kristen brought her child to the daycare for my mother to, watch over. And at first, I had never saw Kristen before. I had never glanced at her and never even spoken to her on the phone. But my mother had. My mother spoke to Kristen on the phone, and she was just like, "Yeah, it's just some woman," and whatever. So I was still in school at the time. I was in high school, and I came back home one day because this is when I had just got my driver's license. So I came back home one day, and I just remember seeing a woman picking up a kid. And as I pulled in, she was pulling in next to me or whatever, and well, the car was next to me, and she was getting into it with a kid, and I got out, and then my mother was like, "This is my youngest son, Marcus. He was the one who was in the picture," and I don't take pictures all the time, so like the picture that was in the house of me, I was probably like, 11. That was the most current picture that I had taken. I was probably like 11, but at the time I was 17 years old, so she was expecting to see an 11-year-old boy, not realizing that I was, 17. So when she saw me, she was kind of like, "Oh, okay." I didn't think much of it. I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" Whatever. I'm not that social of a person, believe it or not. Believe it or not, considering that I'm doing these videos, I'm not that social of a person. I'm very antisocial. I just stick to my circle. I don't really talk to people that much, but whatever. I just kind of just was like, "Hey, how you doing? My name is Marcus, blah, blah, blah." Went inside, that was it. So as weeks go by, she would come in to pick up the kid, and as she was coming in, I was usually always leaving to go somewhere else. I lived around the corner from my friends. I would go to their house. We would just, hang out, chill, play games, do whatever, So I would leave, and, she would be coming in, I would be leaving. And one day, she just made a comment, and it kind of threw me off, because she was like, why every time I come in, you're leaving? And I was like, I'm going over a friend's house. I'm just, going to hang out. And she was like, okay, whatever. You're going to be like that. So I was just kind of like, that's odd. I was thinking to myself, that's odd. That is really odd. So then one day, I remember it had to be around February, because I remember it was cold outside, but the sun was beaming. You know what I'm saying? So it had to be around that time. So February is that month where it could be slightly cold, but the sun is beaming at you, so it kind of confuses you when you go outside. So I had on a jacket. I still have the jacket right now. I had on a jacket, and I remember standing outside, and I had my little headphones in. I was just standing outside. I was waiting for my friend to pull up, come down the street. And she was outside, and my friend never showed up. I just stand outside for probably a while. Then I went back inside, then I went back outside. Then I came back inside, and he never showed up. We were supposed to go meet up with some females, and he never showed up. And I get a phone call from him, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I ain't gonna be able to show up, man. Me and my girl went to, wherever, and we chilling right now, so my bad." And I was just like, "Yeah, whatever, And she must have heard, some of the conversation. Well, I know she heard most of the conversation, because she was like, "Oh, does somebody need a hug?" And I was just kind of like, what is wrong with this woman? And my mom was like, "You know you want that hug. Go ahead and get that hug." And I was just like, what? I was just confused that they messed with me like this. So I was like, okay, whatever, And I was just like, yeah, did the little guy hug. It's like, yeah, whatever, And her husband came one day to pick up her kid, and he was talking about how he played ping pong, right? And I'm not, all right, fuck it, I'm black, of course, right? And he was black too, and I was like, I don't know real black people play ping pong, man. What the fuck? Play ping pong? Are you sure that you black, brother? Like, don't black people play ping pong, man? And he kind of laughed at that, and he was like, man, you talking shit up me playing ping pong, man. Come on over to the house and get your ass whooped in the ping pong. And I was just like, alright, man, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I just said okay and whatever, But that same week, on a Friday, I think, she came over to the house to pick me up to play him in ping pong. And I was just kind of like, okay, they were serious about this shit. So then me and her went to the grocery store. She had to buy some shit. And I was just like, okay, I don't know what the fuck going on here, you know. So I went over to her house and she cooked, and me and him played, ping pong. Yeah, he whooped my ass because I don't play ping pong. So I was just kind of just smacking the ball around, and he was, acting like he was fucking Serena Williams and playing tennis and shit. And he was just getting it. I was just like, all right, whatever. And her cousin was over the house, and I guess you could say we was relatively close in age because I was 17 and he was 22. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the hell, we really had in common because he was, of drinking age and I wasn't even of smoking age yet. So, but me and him was cool and we were just talking and chilling and shit, and she was there and she was just kind of talking shit towards me and all this type of stuff, and I was just like, I really don't understand what's going on here. I don't know how I even got myself involved in this situation. I don't know what the hell's going on. And after that, they got a dog, pit bull, brindle colored, tiger striped, whatever you want to call it, pit bull. And her cousin was the one who got the dog. He was the one supposed to be watching the dog, but he ended up just bouncing. Motherfucker just left one day and never said shit. He just left. That was it. That was the last I heard of his ass. And he left that damn dog in the house, and both of them worked. Kristen and her husband, Eddie, they both worked. And she came over to the house one day. Well, she called my mother hysterical about that damn dog one day, and she came over to the house picking up her kid, still hysterical about that damn dog being left in the house. And so she asked me to come over to the house and help her with this situation. And I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. Go over to the house, open the door. That dog's fine. It's only been a few hours. The dog is fine. And she asked me to stay over and help her with the situation with the dog. And I was just like, all right. So I was there helping her with the dog, and I stayed there until her husband came home. And then she took me home because I didn't drive up there in my mother's car. She took me home, and she was like, thanks, and you real good at helping people and shit, and I just want to give you a hug, and we need to exchange numbers because sometimes something like this may happen and I may need your help to watch the dog, and I just may need someone to talk to, so we need to exchange numbers. And I was just kind of like, alright. Now, so y'all gotta understand something, man. It's not that women aren't attracted to me, you know what I'm saying? I've seen it when I was in school. I see it now, a woman that just kind of stare at me for a while, and I'll eventually work up the courage to go say something, and whether it succeeds or fails, that's irrelevant. But at the time, because I was 17 and she was like 24 or 25, I wasn't used to that shit. I couldn't read the signs of anybody, kind of showing some affection toward me, especially a woman, that much older than me. But, anyway, let's move past that. So we started hanging out, started cooling it, started, getting to know each other. And I started to notice that I was really enjoying my time with her. I was really enjoying the company. It was like a breath of fresh air to me. I started to notice that. And she asked me to paint her house one time, and I was like, all right, the inside. It was their bedroom, and I painted their bedroom. And this was during the 2007 tornado that we had in Atlanta. I think it was 2007. Even 2007, 2008. We had a tornado here in Atlanta, and it kind of ripped through downtown Atlanta, but they live relatively close to the touchdown area. And yeah, it was dark as fuck. The sky was dark as fuck, but it was like noon, right? So it was, scary to say the least. But I was over there and I'm painting the house, and I'm painting, and she gets kind of scared, so we go into the basement, and she brings a little radio down there with her because she just don't want to sit there in silence. So she turns it on, and it's Phil Collins, and it's playing some shit. I can feel it coming in the air tonight, or whatever. Just playing some Phil Collins. And after that, she played some Jamaican stuff, and she started dancing, and she was telling me, get up and dance with me. And I was just kind of like, no, what I'm saying? Like, I don't dance, but at that specific time, I was like, no, I don't think that this shit should be this serious. And now I didn't know this until 2 years after this event, but she actually told my mother that she had fallen in love with me. And I had told my mother you know, as a 17-year-old, I'm like, Mom, I think I'm falling for this woman, man. Like, even though she's married, I think I'm falling for her, man. I'm spending time with her, and I'm just enjoying her company, and it don't have nothing to do with sex. It don't have nothing to do with me being sexually attracted to this woman. Oh, she was a sexy woman, though, but it was more so I was enjoying her company. I got to know this person. I got to spend time with her and her kid. You know what I'm saying? Her kid responded to me very well, so I was just kind of like, oh, that's weird. And her husband was a firefighter, so he was kind of like never at home. He was kind of a douchebag anyway, but besides the point, I started to fall in love with this woman, and I was just kind of like, you know, this might be a bad situation, man. Like, this potentially might be a bad situation. You know, we spent too much time together, man. We connected, you know, we bonded over certain stuff, man. We shared, you know, secrets with one another. So I was just kind of like, I might have to remove myself from this situation because she's married. If they had just been boyfriend and girlfriend, I would have made some type of move. But because they were married, I was like, I can't do that. I can't have that on my karma, you know. Fucking around with some married woman, I can't have that shit on my karma. So I just kind of stopped talking to her. Right. About my first year of college. So 2 years later, probably my first year of college, I just happened to run into each other, and she talked to my mother, and she came over to the house because I was coming back from school. I was making that long ass drive back to Atlanta, and I see a car in the driveway, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I pull in the house, it's her. She's sitting down. She just looking kind of like just fucking sad as shit. I'm like, Jesus, what the hell going on, right? And I ride with her, and she was telling me, you know, that she just found out that her husband might have been having an affair. It was more like cyber sexing and shit. You know, him sending pictures of his shit to a woman, and the woman sending pictures of her titties back and all that type of shit, you know. So who knows? He may have been doing something with this bitch. I don't know. But she's telling me all this stuff, and we go over to the house, and she packs up all this shit. She throws it, you know, in the car, and we drive to his fucking job, and she throw that shit outside, and, you know, call him, hey, your shit outside, get that shit, you know. So I was just like, okay, you know, this situation crazy. And then I went with her to the, I guess, a divorce lawyer, I guess, because she filed for separation, I guess. I don't know if you have to do that shit, but, you know, she went to talk to some type of lawyer or whatever, and they set up an appointment and all that type of shit. And I was in the car trying to comfort her, trying to make her laugh and shit, you know, because my parents went through that shit, so I kind of knew how to deal with it, you know, in a way, because I watched my mom deal with some, you know, the shit that my dad had done and all that type of shit. So I was like, I can kind of, you know, relate to your situation. I can kind of, I mean, my mom might be the one that you want to talk to instead of me, but I can kind of relate to your situation, and I'll be here for you and shit. And then the question that came up in the car was, you know, after I cheered her up and she was laughing a bit, she asked me what was I doing, you know, today, like at all, like period. And I knew from that question and statement, just the way that it was brought up and the way that it was said and the moment that it was said, that something might happen if I say nothing, and I'll do whatever you want. I'll be there for you and all that type of shit. So at the time, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, they separated, but they still married because the situation just happened. So I pretty much said that I had shit to do. I'm driving back to school, you know what I'm saying, in like 2 hours, so I got shit to do. And she just left it at that. And I have not seen her since. I have not seen that woman since 2009. And it's 2013 now, and she was the first woman that I've ever fallen in love with. Now, I know people say that the first love is always unrequited, but at least the other party knows that you love them. I would just want to tell her that I fell in love with her, and that she was the first woman I fell in love with, and that honestly, I don't think I've, you know, found anyone as good as her since. And I wasn't even physically with her, so. But I haven't seen her since, and I just wonder if I've made the right decision in my life by not, you know, acting on that and not taking any opportunity to do anything with her and just remaining in a wholesome and right way. I always, you know, look up in the sky and just be like, God, you owe me one. I didn't do anything with this married woman that you put in front of me. You owe me one. You gotta give me one pass. You know, if anything gonna get me into heaven, it should be that shit, right? But the question that I want to ask is, How do you know if you're in love with someone? Ladies and gentlemen, how do you know if you're in love with someone, and how do you respond to it? How do you respond emotionally when you realize that you're in love with someone? Do you tell them right away? Do you sit and let it fester to see if it really is love? Do you wait for the other person to admit the feelings? Or do you just jump right in it and just, go for the gusto? I've never asked this question before. I usually don't make videos like this. But I was just kind of sitting around thinking about it. I found a letter that I wrote her, in 2009 that I never fucking gave her. And I wish I had now because I haven't seen her since then. But I just read the letter and I was just like, man, that was like pure, like, I put my heart in it. Like, I've never done that shit before. I don't think I've done it since. I'm kind of like an emotional fucking tight ass, So when I read that letter, I was just kind of like, I have to speak about this in some way, shape, or form. And this is my way of speaking about it. So I really just want to know, how do you respond with feelings of love? And is it better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all? Because quite frankly, I find that statement to be bullshit. I would rather not fall in love than to fall in love and not be able to reciprocate those feelings, man. But man, I just want to know what y'all think about it, man. This is Vashthesampede. I'm signing out. I apologize for the length of this video. I apologize for not taking no breaks and just talking and shit. I apologize for the subject matter, man, but I find it to be quite interesting, man. And if y'all can just, give me your own thoughts and your own tidbits to this situation, that'll be cool. We can talk about things more than just anime and just manga and shit, We can talk about life and love and all that type of stuff, man. So just let me know what y'all think about that situation, man. I wish I had a picture of her. I'll show you. But this is Vashthesampede, man, and I am signing out. If you guys ever have any questions like that, or any questions at all, you can just post them at the bottom, man. I'll answer any question that you want, man. I probably won't say your name, but I will address the question. So if you have any question, man, you can just send me them shits, and I'll just talk about it, man. I'll make a whole video about it, man. So, we can just get that shit going too, man, because I like to think of myself as being able to handle any type of situation, man. I like to think of myself as being able, to be able to get inside of the human psyche, and work at it. So if you have any questions, man, just let me know.